What's up folks, welcome back to this video. If you're new here on this channel, this is where we help you become a full stack developer, so definitely consider subscribing. In this video we're gonna walk you guys through how you can set up your custom domain name with SSL. Now if you don't know what SSL is, what we're talking about is that HTTPS with the log next to it. We're gonna take you from deploying the website and configure everything step by step, okay? But before we start, let me give you guys an overview of what the architecture look like. So here's what we have, okay? Now if this looks scary, if you're like, oh my gosh, I don't know what the heck this is, do not worry. We're gonna walk you through step by step on how to configure every single one of them. The only thing you need to have is a basic understanding of AWS. If you do have that, then you can feel free to follow along, okay? Again, we're gonna explain every single service as we go through step by step, but for now let me show you how that works. So here's our user right here, and our website is going to be located in this Amazon bucket right here. So what's gonna happen when the user try to go to our domain name, what that means is when the user type this domain name right here, so route 53 is going to route that user to something called CloudFront, and CloudFront is one of the best amazing service that Amazon has. It is a really cool service. We're gonna explain what it is as we go through the session, but what's gonna happen here is AWS Certificate Manager is gonna come in to provide what they call that HTTPS certificate. Then once that happens, then CloudFront is going to reach out to Amazon S3 to get our website content and then serve it to that user. So in a nutshell, this is the overview of what we're about to do. Again, if everything looks scary, do not worry, we're gonna break them down for you in every single step. All right, so we're going to do everything in 5 steps. The first step we're going to do is we're gonna go ahead and get our free domain. We don't need to pay for it. It's going to be a free domain we get, and make sure that we have that out of way. This is step 1, okay? So how can we do that? First thing first, head over to this website called freenum and click enter. Now again, this is how it looks like. Make sure that you are on this website. Click this website right here. Now once you are on this website, you definitely need to sign in. If you do not have an account, make sure that you click where it says sign in. Once I clicked on it, it takes me to this login page. Now I'm going to log in with my Google account, but you can feel free to log in with your Facebook account, whatever you want to log in. I'm gonna go here and hit Google. I'm gonna select whichever one of my account. I'm gonna select this one, and there you go, ladies and gentlemen, I am logged in. Once you are logged in, head over where it said services, clicked on it and select register a new domain. All right, once I'm here, you need to type any domain that you want to register. Now for this one, I'm going to come in with my YouTube portfolio. Now again, this seems silly, but you guys can come in with any new name that you want for your domain. Once you have that, make sure that you click on this button right here. Now here's the list of the domain that I have. Now one thing about this website, freenum.com, that lets you register free domain is you only use those free domain for testing purposes. They do not have a good ranking on Google. If you want something more professional, you need to consider register for something more like .com that's gonna have a better ranking. Okay, now for testing purposes, we're going to use the one that has the .tk or any other one that's for free. Okay, so once I have that, I need to click wherever it says get it now. So once I click on get it now, there is a button here called checkout. Make sure that you click on this button. Once you click on this button, it will take you to this space. Now the catch about this is you can only register this for 12 months, and there's no guarantee that your domain will remain this after the 12 months. So that's one of the catch about using this free domain. Now once, make sure you select the 12 month, and I'm gonna click continue. All right, once you are in this page, you're going to need to fill in some basic information about you, such as your first name, last name, your address, your zip code, and so on. I'm gonna go ahead and fill in mine, and then once you're ready, make sure you select I have read the agreement, and then click on complete order right here. Okay, all right, assuming that you have provided them with all the information, and click complete order, and there you go, your order has been completed. They sent you an email for verification. All right, once I've done that, you need to go wherever it said services and click on my domain. Now I do have a couple other domain that I have available. For your case, you have to make sure that your domain is here and it is active. If that's not the case, then feel free to kind of go back and review every single step that we've gone through. But the idea is you need to make sure that you have your domain right here. And ladies and gentlemen, that was the first step. Now for step number 2, we're going to try to go to Amazon and try to deploy our website that is locally. Before we do that, let me kind of show you guys what I'm talking about here. Okay, this is a series part of where we show you guys how to deploy 3 different applications to S3. If you haven't watched this series, definitely watch this video. There's a link for it in the top right corner. But for this case, we're gonna go here and deploy a very single static website. And this is what it looks like. Something very, very basic. This is the logo. This is the footer. Something very, very basic. We're going to try to get this website that is on our local computer, try to deploy to Amazon S3. This is going to be step number 2. And this website is very simple. The only thing we have is an index.html and a CSS file. Just keep it simple for you guys to follow along with this video. Again, if you want to see how to deploy an Angular, React, Vue.js application, definitely go back and watch some of my videos on how to do that. All right, so what I need to do for step number 2 is open a new tab and go to this URL right here and click enter. Once you here, go over wherever it said my account and go to AWS Management Console. Again, you need to have an AWS account in order for you to follow along. So I already have an AWS account, it'll log me right in. But if you do not have an AWS account, it's going to require you to have one. So once I am logging in this interface, I need to go inside the search and type for S3 and click enter. Now, what is S3? S3 is a web service interface that allows you to store and retrieve any amount of data, which means we're talking about unlimited amount of data that you can store into S3 into something called buckets. Now, by default, everything you store into S3 is secure. Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to try to store these two files that we have, which is index and CSS, into S3. In order for us to do that, we need to create what they call a bucket. I'm gonna go here and click on bucket. I'm going to name this one the same name as my website. Again, it doesn't really matter for this case the way we need it, but one thing to keep in mind is this bucket name has to be globally unique across AWS. Once I've done that, I need to click wherever it said create, and there you go, my bucket now is created. Now click on this bucket name, and once I'm here, I'm gonna go back to wherever I have my static website, which is here. Double click on it. I'm gonna drag these two files and bring them over here in this interface. Again, this is the interface I'm talking about, so bring these two files into this interface, drag them here, and click on this upload button. Now by default, Amazon S3 secure everything that you store into it. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and disable that behavior, but because we want this to be accessible publicly on the internet, I'm going to go over the permission section. Now make sure you are under the block public access, and I'm going to go here and click edit and click block all public access. So we're going to uncheck that, and once you're done, click save and type confirm and click confirm, and there you go, this piece has successfully completed. The next step is click on the bucket policy. Now once you're here, you need to create what they call a bucket policy. What we're going to do in our case is we already have an example provided for you. The only thing you need to do is head over this URL and you'll be able to find this one. So I'm going to copy this one, go back to S3 and paste it in here. The only thing I need to do is wherever you have the bucket name, you're going to have to replace it with whatever bucket name that you have right here. So in my case, mine is called my YouTube portfolio. So I'm going to go back again, wherever I have the bucket name, I'm going to replace it this one, and there you go, I have this one generated for me. Now in case you want to learn in how to create your own policy, you can click on this button, and AWS has a policy generator where you can go ahead and create your own policy based into that UI right here. But this is out of the scope of this video. Once you have that, make sure that you click on save, and this bucket now should be available to the entire internet. Now to verify this successfully worked, we need to click on Amazon S3 to go back to the bucket, and we need to make sure that we see this label on this bucket. If we do not see this label, that means that our bucket is not public. Assuming that you see this label, make sure that you click on this bucket again. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to enable static website. To do this, go to this inside the bucket, go under where it said property, and inside the property, click on where it said static web hosting, and make sure that you click where it said use this bucket to host a website. Once you do that, make sure you select the starting file, in my case, which is HTML, which is index.html. But if you have an error one for the error document, make sure you select it. I don't have one, so I'm going to select index.html and click save. Now to see this website live, you need to click where it said static web hosting and click on this link right here. Okay, click on this link, and there you go, ladies and gentlemen, our website is live. If I send this link to everybody, they can see my website live. But check this out, this is not secure, and second, this is not a friendly URL where people can go and type and remember into the browser. So what we want is remember the domain we created, which is this domain right here. So I'm going to go here and copy. What we want to happen is when the user type this URL, that's when we want them to go to the website and also secure this as well using SSL. But so far we were able to successfully deploy our application using S3. Now everything seems to be working. Before we move on to step number 3, make sure that at least you can go to wherever you deploy your website and see this website live. If you do not do this, then the next step are not going to work for you. So definitely make sure that you have this working fully for you. All right, before we go to step number 3, let's take take a look and see where we at so far, okay? So here's the user. What we've done so far is we've created our Amazon S3 bucket. This is the first thing that we've done. We've created our Amazon S3 bucket. We deploy our website. People can go to it, but we want to make sure that they're going through it behind these guys, okay? So the next step we're going to do is we're going to go to Route 53 and configure what they call a hosting zone, okay? So don't worry, we're going to go and break everything down for you step by step, but let's dive into the console. Wherever it says services, click on here and search for something called Route 53 and click on the first one you see, and it should take you to this page. Now, what is Amazon Route 53? Amazon Route 53 is a highly available and scalable domain name web service. You can do the following with it. You can do DNS management, you can do traffic management, you can do availability monitoring, you can do domain name registration, which means you can register a domain name in it as well. But for our case, we're going to use the DNS management. So click on get started. Once you're here, I'm going to create what they call a hosted zone. Now, what is a hosting zone? A hosting zone is just a container for records, and records that contain information on how you want to route traffic to your domain name. And again, that might sound confusing, but all you need is you need a hosting zone. So click on create a hosted zone. And once you do that, you might need to click on it again, and there you go, you can give it a domain name. For this one, I'm going to go back to wherever I have my DNS name. I'm going to copy this name that I have. So copy this, right click and copy. So right click and copy, then go back to Route 53. I'm going to paste this name in there. Now, make sure that there is no slash at the end of it, and also there is no HTTP at the end of it, okay? Just the name of your domain with the .tk. Once you have that, just click create, and there you go, your hosted zone is created, okay? So once you hear the last piece that we need to do in order for us to complete step number 3 is we need to kind of go back to wherever we have the domain name, which is this one on freenom.com. We need to click on wherever it said manage domain. So make sure that you're selecting your domain and click manage domain. And once you click on it, make sure that you click on management tool and name servers again, okay? And name servers. Now, if you are using something that is different than Freenom, you can go and navigate and try to work your way toward where you have the name server. The only thing you need is the name server in order for you to connect it with Route 53. So I'm going to click on name servers. And once you're here, if you notice they're using some default name servers for you, what we want is we want to use custom name server. So once you're here, I'm going to go back to Route 53. Make sure that you click on this one, not the second one, the one with the type of NS, okay? So I'm going to click on this one, and I'm going to go here over this section. And if I notice here, there's a total of 4 different links that I can copy and paste. So I'm going to go here and copy every single one of them one by one and go back to my Freenom, and I'm going to paste them one by one to this name server. Now make sure that you remove the last period at the end of this. So I'm going to go back again and copy the second one, right click and copy, and paste the second name server right here. So I'm going to do that for the 2 other name servers as well. All right, so once I've copied every single 4 of this URL and paste them right here and click change name. And ladies and gentlemen, believe it or not, step 3 is completed. Now the remaining focus is going to be inside AWS, where I'm going to do some further configuration. But before we do that, let's review our diagram again. So far, we've created an S3 bucket. We're also creating our hosted zone on Route 53. Now the next 2 pieces that we have left is these 2 guys, okay? Now if you take a quick look at this, this guy is the middle guy that is going to do everything to connect back and forth between Route 53 and also get the SSL and Amazon S3. So we're gonna leave this guy at the last. The next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna go here and create our Ssl certificate using this Amazon service right here. So what are we going to do in step number 4? In step number 4, we're gonna go ahead and create our SSL, and we're gonna create what they call a record in Route 53. Again, if this doesn't make any sense for you, don't worry, we're gonna do everything step by step so you can follow along with this video. So in step number 4, go over wherever it says services and search for certificate manager, okay? Now what is AWS certificate manager? Now it is a service that lets you easily provision, manage, and deploy public what they call secure socket layer / transport layer security. That might seem like a mouthful, but what that means is this. So if you go back to the Google example that we have, all they're talking about is that HTTPS, and what that means is it is a secure way to make sure that the user information is being encrypted while it is being transported to your server, okay? All right, so back into AWS certificate, what we need to do is click on wherever it said get started for this guy right here. Click get started. Once you're here, make sure you select the public certificate, so click on request certificate. Once you're here, you need to get the domain name that you register on this website right here. So if you remember, this is the domain name that you register. So I'm gonna copy this one, go back to AWS certificate, I'm gonna paste this one in there. And once you have the domain name, now click next. There's different ways you can validate that. I'm going to select DNS validation. And once you're here, you can review everything and click confirm and request. And then to complete the step, just click continue. Now, once you're here, you might see this interface. If I click here, I can expand my request for my certification that I'm asking, aka for my SSL certification that I'm asking. And if you look at the state here, it is currently pending, okay? So the last step that I need to do in order for me to finish with step number 4 is this. Click to expand this, and when you expand it, wherever it said domain right here, so click on here to expand it as well. Now, once you're here, all you need to do is click this button wherever it said create record in Route 53. And once this pop up, click create, and boom, ladies and gentlemen, we are done with step number 4. Now, this will take a second in order for the status to change to success. Just be mindful, just leave it there for a few seconds, a few minutes possibly, and then if you reload it again, it might come with a status success. So I'm gonna leave it here and come back until success, okay? And there you go, ladies and gentlemen, my status now is equal issue, which that means everything is good with my certificate. So in case you didn't see this button right here, one thing you could have done is copy this value, so this entire value right there. So you could have copied, pasted somewhere, but what you really need from this value is this ending right here. So it's just this value right here. So I'm gonna copy this value right here, and you could have gone to Route 53. If I go back here and go to Route 53, again, this is just in case you haven't seen this button. So I could have gone to Route 53, click on hosted zone, click on your hosted zone, and then I could have create a record. So what that means is I need to create a record that give me the same thing that I'm looking at right here. So in order for us to do that, I could have just click create record set and paste this link that I copy in here, and make sure that you select the CNAME version. And if you go back again to the AWS Certification Manager, you could have copied this entire value and paste this entire value right here without the dot at the end of it. So without the dot at the end of it, and then just click create. Again, this is just in case you do not see this button right here, but if you've seen it, everything should be working fine. You don't need to kind of go here and do that extra step right here, okay? All right, and believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, step number 4 is completed. We got one more step in order to get this over with. In step number 5, this is where we're gonna go and wrap up everything. But before we wrap up everything, let's review where we at with our diagram right here, okay? So here's where we at. We've created our Route 53, we've created our S3 bucket, we've created our AWS certificate, but we haven't created our CloudFront yet. This is going to be the next step, okay? All right, so for step number 5, I'm gonna go back to AWS. I'm gonna search for something called CloudFront and click on CloudFront. Now, for those of you that don't know what CloudFront is, it is a web service that speed up distribution of your static and dynamic web content. I know this is one of the worst explanation ever. What that means is it is a content delivery network which has a large network of data centers around the world. We can see data center in Brazil, America, Japan, everywhere around the world. They're all data centers for it. Now, CloudFront called those data centers edge locations. And now the big question is, why do they have so many data centers around the world? Well, CloudFront uses those data centers whenever the user is accessing your website. It knows where that user is. It picks the closer data center to deliver your data to that user, which means you might have user in Brazil, you might have user in Japan, you might have user in anywhere in the world. Your website loads super fast for them. So what CloudFront does is it's try to route the user, which means it's try to direct the user to the closest edge location that provides the user the low latency. And again, this might be like, okay, so what the heck is latency? Latency is the time it takes in order for the user to receive a response, which means the amount of time that it takes in order for your website to load for that user. Again, too much talking. Let's go ahead and create what they call a distribution with CloudFront. So click on distribution and make sure that you're selecting the web version. So click get started, and here wherever it said origin name, if you clicked on it, it will give you the option to select your S3 bucket. Do not select your S3 buckets, okay? What you need to do is you need to go to S3. So wherever you have the S3, so tap S3 and click on the bucket name and click on the property and click on static web hosting. Now, once you're here, you need to make sure that you're selecting this URL without the HTTP right here, okay? So select this URL and go back to CloudFront and make sure that you paste this entire URL in here, okay? Now, this is important that you do this. All right, once you've done that, there's only 3 things that I need to check here in order to get this fully working. 3 things. Number 1, under the default cache, I need to make sure that I select wherever it said redirect HTTP to HTTPS. So click on that. And number 2, scroll down wherever it said distribution setting right here. You need to come here wherever it said alternative domain name. So go back to your free name and copy your domain name and go back to CloudFront and paste your domain name here. Now make sure that there is no HTTP in front of your domain, just your domain and without the slash. And the last thing I need to do, wherever it said Ssl Certificate, so click on custom SSL, and if you click on this drop, it will select the SSL that you have, and make sure that you select this one. And all I need to do now is scroll all the way on the bottom, leave everything the way it is, and click on the distribution right here, and we are done. Now if I go here and take a look at the status of my CloudFront distribution, this will take up to 40 minutes. So go ahead, whatever you're doing, just go ahead and do whatever you need to do. Just come back into it. Whenever you come back, click this refresh button right here to refresh it to see the latest status. I'm gonna pause this video and come back until the status of my CloudFront is done. All right guys, there you go. My status now is deployed. This is fully deployed. Now for those of you, this might take up to 40 minutes, might take close to 30, something like that. Now to verify this is deployed, there's one last step, but before we move on to the last step, in order to test this to make sure that everything is good end to end with CloudFront, we need to go wherever it said domain name. We're gonna copy this domain name, right click and copy, and if we open a new tab and paste this into the browser, we should be able to see our static website, and there we go. We are seeing that. If you're not seeing this, that means something have gone wrong with CloudFront. So make sure that you are seeing this in order for us to wrap up this video. Now again, if you remember, this is not what we're looking for. We're looking for wherever we have this domain, when we refresh on it, we want to be able to see our website, and I'm talking about the domain name we have from Freenom right here. So whenever we refresh on it, that's when we want to see this website. Now before we configure the last step, let's review what we have. Okay, so what we've done is we created the Amazon S3, we created the CloudFront. Now if you remember, when we're creating the CloudFront, we connected it with the custom certificate, and we also connected it with the Amazon S3. However, it is not connected with Route 53, and this is the only step we're going to do now. Now in order to do this, we're going to go back to AWS and go inside the services, and we're going to search for Route 53 and click Route 53, click on hosted zone and click on your domain name. And here what we're gonna do is we're gonna create what they call a record. So click on this. We're gonna leave this name as empty as it is. We're also gonna leave the type. The only thing we're gonna change here is wherever it said yes. Now for your case, you're gonna need to scroll and search wherever you have the CloudFront distribution and click on this. Now in case that you do not see this, you can go back to CloudFront wherever you have the CloudFront, and under the domain name right here, say this domain name, you can copy this domain name right here and take it back to Route 53 and paste it in here just in case you do not have that. And once that's done, all you need to do now is click this button, and ladies and gentlemen, we are done. Now I would say to give this at least 2 minutes, but I'm gonna go here and test it out and see what happened. So if I go back to my domain, finger crossed, let's hope this works. If I refresh this, and of course it is not working, I'm gonna go ahead and give it 2 minutes. All right guys, it's been at least over 2 minutes. Again, if it's still not working for you, I'll say to give it more time, up to 10 minutes. If I refresh this, and there you go, ladies and gentlemen, it is working. I can now access this website over HTTPS, and I have my lock. It is fully secure. If I click enter again, it is working as expected. Now if this doesn't work for you, I recommend to try it on your phone or any other devices. Before we end this video, let's review everything we've done so far. We've gone to Freenom, we create our domain, we click on manage domain, we click on manage tool, name servers, and then we went on Route 53. We click on this one, we get every single of this URL, we replace the name server with every single one of them. We've gone into S3, we upload our files, and then after S3, we've gone to certificate manager, we configure our certificate. We also click that button to create a record into Route 53, and after that, we've gone through CloudFront and we create what they call our distribution. And ladies and gentlemen, this is the end of this video. If this video has helped you in any ways, please do not leave without hitting the subscribe button. You help me creating video like this for people like you to find. And if you want to stay tuned with every single new video that I release on this channel, definitely hit the notification bell and turn all notification on. Thank you guys so much for watching this, and see you guys for the next video.